Hello, everyone. Welcome
It
to another easy conversation.
because
Hey, Ian.
it's been a little bit, right?
It has. It's been a month, but that's okay. We've been doing this a while now. I worked it out. It's been a couple of years, more than a couple. We miss a couple of fortnights here and there. Life, it's life, right?
Yes, yeah. Parent teacher, I think was the last one. It's got me 2 years in a row now. So, oops.
Look, well, I mean, all things considered, considering what part of the world you're in and what part of the world I'm in, and that we coordinate it to this, it's pretty good, really. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I have to admit, it worked out pretty well.
It does. So I will put my hand up and say I nominated this topic this week, adapting to change. That was the positive spin on what my week has been, actually the last few weeks. But I actually, if I don't put the positive spin on it, it's like I'm struggling with change. And
Tell me about that, because we all deal with change so well.
I've never dealt with change well. It's been this ongoing thing. So a bit of a backstory. When I first started my business, even having to transition from talking with clients and then having to run out the door to go and pick Angel up from school and then coming back home, I would be frustrated and annoyed because now I don't know what headspace I'm in. So like I've had this constant thing around transitioning. And if somebody would throw I've got a plan for the weekend and somebody throws a spanner in and goes, oh, here, what about this? I go, don't change it up on me. Stop with the change. So that's a bit of me constantly in the background. But as the years have progressed, and I don't know whether it's age and becoming a little more mellow, or maybe all the personal development work I might have done, or a combination of both, I've become a little bit more okay with the change and, okay, let's embrace this new thing. I remember when, we started using Facebook and I don't know, you know what, if they're updating it or they're doing this, I'll just embrace that new version. So whenever an update comes out for the Apple phone or whatever, I just go, yep, new update, bring it on. So I'm really good with that stuff. The bit that I struggled with in the last 3 weeks, though, was as everyone who's been listening in knows or follows me on social media knows that we're renovating. And under our own guidance, we got a tiler in. And because I'm not letting my husband do the tiling, that wasn't a thing. I was going to get someone, I was paying someone to do that work. And so that's a 2-day, well, it ended up being about 2.5-day job. I thought it was going to be a 5-day job. So that same week, my husband was on an overnight work job, which meant that he needed to be able to sleep during the day before the night shift. Mm-hmm. And then also the day after he needed to sleep. And we're like, tiling, workers in the house, not really conducive for sleeping. So I organised a hotel room. Essentially, I kicked my husband out for a day or two and made him have a hotel reservation and a room so that he could just have somewhere to go, which I thought was really, really, clever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was really clever. So I'd had all that in my head. I knew how my week was going to roll. We'd prepped food. We'd done all the things to have that all in place. And the tiler finished early. Now, these are good changes, right? But now, Renz has still got the accommodation booked. So he still used that, but there was no point in it because no one was actually in the house anymore. He could have been in the house, but what do? Do you renege on that? And in fact, it ended up being kind of okay for him because he said he slept better because he didn't have any other distractions. Like he didn't have me distracting him and it's not like I'd deliberately go and wake him up, but just moving around the house, I would, disturb him more, right?
For sure, yeah.
whatever. So this is where this has all started, right? And in this, in this whole story of the Tyler being, not only did it disrupt the plans that I had about my husband not being home, and then he could be home, and breathing, Chris, breathing, is that I noticed that the Tyler, who was lovely, he became my best friend that week. He was great. I felt really uncomfortable after 2 days because he was in my personal space. And I realized what I do when I work at home is that my home becomes my workspace. And so I actually extend not only my workspace, but I actually extend my personal space. And so that being interrupted constantly, that was changing me up as well. It's like, oh no, I can't cope with this. Well, that was the story I was telling myself. Anyway, so then we've had these other changes where we've got no furniture in the house because we're painting the room that would have a lounge and chairs, and that's not happening. Because that room's now empty. We don't have the pantry set up, so the cupboards are now sitting in the dining room in front of other cupboards, so you can't get to things. So like everything displaced, right? There is nothing in my world that feels like it's in rhythm. And then, it's just been 3 weeks of this, I had to go to the physio and they said, I know you like going for your half-hour walk, but your body's not loving it. So you need to reduce it down to 5 to 10 minute walk every day, rather than trying to do half an hour every 3 or 4 days. Just do 10 minutes a day, which is literally a walk around the block. Like, it's not far. I swear I blink and I've walked my 10 minutes. But now how do I fit that in? Because that wasn't part of the plan. And now how do I get, then I've got to, put different clothes on and different shoes on, and then that changed the rhythm of when I had coffee and when I got to see Renz before he left for work, and the changes just kept coming. And it's really what I noticed for me is that I would be irritable. I wasn't feeling comfortable. I was just going, it doesn't feel right. Wasn't feeling satisfied in any form. And so that was all on the personal side. Business side was okay because all the clients were doing what I would say is normal stuff. So all of that rhythm was good. So I kind of relied on that rhythm. So, okay, that was still in place. So I could just step into that, and that was a bit of a comfort zone. But all these other personal changes, and it's still going on. I still don't have furniture in my front room. In fact, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, we will have our outdoor furniture as our chairs to sit on. It feels like we've just
gone back to college.
Yes. I'm waiting for the milk crate to be on our table. It's just back to basics. So there's no comfort in the house because we're literally just going, what chair do we have available that we could just place here so that we've got somewhere to sit? And we've signed up for this for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And it just feels like my world is not my own. So that agitation within me, and I shared just before we started the Facebook Live, my body was having a bit of a whinge about it being a bit sore. It's because I'm not actually relaxing anywhere. So I thought it was, good to just share a bit of this because we can, essentially, all of this is self-created. We chose to renovate. We chose to have a Tyler come in. we chose to disrupt our normal routine by me sending my husband out overnight to stay in a hotel room instead of being at home. We chose all this stuff. We chose to buy new furniture and donate the other bits. But I'm still really struggling to adapt to what I've got right in front of me, because I want to default to the old. I want to default to the comfort. I want to default to what I know.
What can you choose now to maybe settle that a little bit?
Wow. Well, my only coping is to default to the things I know that are still in routine and still comfortable, to help feed a little bit of my comfort zone, because I'm still uncomfortable in my own house. It's ridiculous. I don't have any other strategy. That's why I thought it'd be a great topic.
Just dive into my work. That should be okay, right?
Yep.
It's stable. It's moving.
That's right. And the other thing, if I've got any spare time, then I just paint the room, right? Because the room represents, if I can get the painting done, then we can get more things back to normal, because furniture can be moved back in once the paint's dry. And, you know, we can, so that the little bits that I can chip away at during the week, the closer I get. So I've pretty much gone into what is it that I can control and give me some comfort. I haven't actually stepped into embracing the newness.
The newness, that's where I was headed.
Or embracing what's coming, because we do have new furniture going to walk in that door maybe in 4 weeks' time. And that space will be so different once we've got this done. You know, all of that. No, not focused on that at all. Just focused on give me some control, and where's my comfort?
But you do have some control.
Yes, but I feel like I might be putting the control into areas that, like you said, the work, like the painting and the work is the things like, right, these are the bits that I can focus on, because I can control that bit, but I want to force those new things to arrive already. But in fact, sometimes, and I tell this to others, but I don't know that I do it well. Well, I'm not doing it well at the minute. Like, it's okay that right now I have ridiculous furniture sitting in the front room of my house, and it has a trestle, a painting trestle. It has paper towels strewn. It has we've got no blinds on the front window. You just look into our house and that's all you see. It's just like
Hoarder's house.
Yeah. Pretty much. Drop sheets everywhere. And it's like, if I walk past someone else's, so I went for my walk, every day this week, as I was asked to be doing, so that's fine. And I'm like looking at different houses and how they're set up and stuff. And I looked inside and I'm wondering what others think of when you look inside. You can't miss our front window. Our front window covers most of the front of the house. You can't miss what's going on in that front room. And it's like, for me, it's just chaos. But I have a sneaky suspicion others would see it differently. But all I see is there's still so much more work to do. There's no comfort in it. There's nothing. Yeah. So that's why I thought adapting to change would be good.
What would give you some peace, though?
The painting to be finished and furniture to be in my house. And I have to wait. It's like any change, isn't it, though? If I have a look at, if if somebody goes through a relationship breakup, for example, something has to end for a new relationship to begin. And there's always that window of uncomfortable, whether it's
The grieving
3
process.
months. Yeah. It's like the moving on from that. And probably because I'm right in the middle of it, I don't quite have the full perspective of it, but I have a feeling it's a bit like that. It's a bit of heartbreak involved, particularly it's the house we've lived in for 25 plus years. But it just feels really chaotic. And yep, right in the thick of it.
Are you able to kind of accept where you're at?
Mostly, and then I get irritated. So like I've noticed that I even sit on the, so we've still got one lounge that will be leaving our house on the weekend, mind you, but I think I've got one more morning I get to sit on that lounge and then it's going. But I don't even sit back and be comfortable on the lounge. I noticed this morning I was sitting right on the edge of the lounge. So that tells me that I'm not comfortable. I'm not relaxing into the space. I'm not relaxing into the changes.
What would that look like though? Relaxing into the changes.
There'd probably be a few things that would need to happen, which is one is that to just accept, like it's even where the lounge is sitting. The lounge is sitting where the sun hits you and we've got no blinds. You know, we could move the lounge. There's nothing else in that room. We don't have to have the lounge sitting right where the sun's hitting us in the morning. We could like move it to the other end. Like that could happen. And I think the other thing when you ask that question is that I could stop the stories going on in my head that I have to get on and do it all and get it to happen and just let the timing happen as it needs to, rather than going, is that new furniture here yet? I want my new furniture. And actually just, yeah, that.
Because I kind of get the impression that like your body is a mirror of your environment, right? So your whinging body is crying a little bit because it's doing a bunch of stuff that maybe it's not ready to do, and you're kind of forcing things. So you know what, I've got a Tuesday, let's go paint.
Someone saw my reel.
I saw it recently, like a few minutes ago. So yeah, so if you're putting yourself in positions where it's you're trying to force things to take place, it'll. I'm not surprised that your body is picking up on how you're being and how disorganized things feel in your space.
Yeah, and everything's tightening up, and and it's painful in my physical body now. So now I'm being forced to relax. So yesterday I was going to do some painting, but I didn't. My body actually felt pain-free yesterday, which was really quite novel. And then it was a bit thunderstormish yesterday afternoon. I was like, I'm just not in the mood. Not in the mood.
Can't paint in that.
I could. It's indoors, but
the lighting's bad. I'm going to force it again. I think those are, but I think those are invitations to slow down, take a breath, see the other side of things, try to get an alternate perspective, reach out to people that you know and have those conversations that pick you up.
Which is why on Tuesday I was so thankful to go, oh, good, we're going to have this conversation later this week because I think I need it. It's there's a lot of like I'm really pushing the envelope, and I'm suffering physically as a result.
Have you noticed this before? A similar feeling, maybe not a similar circumstance, but a similar feeling.
Not for a while. I think the last time I really noticed it was when I would have to chop and change between being business hat and mum hat, and having to, but that felt more like pressure of who I'm meant to be right now, where this feels a little bit more, we're choosing this, and these are the changes that we're deliberately choosing. I can't recall I don't really have an awareness of when I've done this before, but I guarantee you I've done this before. This is classic me, because I like a plan and I don't like it changed. Or that's the words I use a lot.
I'm thinking of, and I don't know it well enough, but is Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Is it Maslow?
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Oh, and I don't know it well enough to recite it all. However, like your home is like your foundation, right? Like, so all of your like basic needs are what you need to have at the bottom, and then it works up the pyramid, that kind of thing. And if your basic needs aren't required, so your home, your like financial stability, your family or whatever, if that stuff is disrupted, your base is gone and it's destabilized. You have made the choice to destabilize portions of your house, but maybe it's more like all of the house right now, or it might feel like that. You even shipped your husband out of the house, so there's the family part out the window. Your daughter is out of the house. The bird's gone, like everything's gone, right? So everything is in a state of flux. So your stability, when you leave the office, you go home, and now the home is not what you know as.
No, it's not the walk in and go, I'm home. Yeah, no.
Right. So it's totally understandable that things might not feel stable, because you have literally
disrupted it.
That foundation.
And maybe what it is for me is that it's surprising how, like, because we make these choices to go, yeah, renovate the house. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Not realizing the impact that choice is going to have, and how disruptive. Like, we all know that renovations are disruptive. You know, we all watch the reno shows and go, oh yeah, that'd be really.
That's why they move out for 2 weeks and then come back.
Yeah, right. Because that's ideally how it works. I don't think they even do it in a 2-week window.
No, I know, but that's the story they paint, right?
But that's the story, right? That you sort of get told. But and so we know that it's disruptive, but don't realize how fundamentally disruptive it is. And then it started creeping into other areas where that adapting to change is really, that envelope is being pushed significantly for me. And not only that, I know I've got a few more weeks of it. It's like right in the middle of something that you just I can't stop the train now. The train is going.
The train has left the station. So I'm thinking back to a conversation that we had prior, and I introduced something to you that was introduced to me, and it was that name it, change it, choose it. Name it, claim it, choose it, change it. So if you were to name it and then claim it and then choose what you could do about it, I have a feeling at least your immediate version of the story that you've got going on right now might level out a little bit.
Yeah, and I agree. I did that in a little micro example this morning, but only because I was forced into it. My back was playing up, and sometimes there's particular muscles that lock in on particular nerves that give me this weird, it's like a migraine, but it doesn't hurt. It just makes my vision go really weird. It's like looking through a kaleidoscope. It's bizarre. I don't know what it's called. There's some Google.
Kaleidoscope syndrome. That sounds good to me.
So that was going on, which means I can't see anything, which is not helpful, because most of the things I do, I rely on my vision. So like, right, meditation first. Normally I look after a few other things. It's like, no, let's head to meditation first. That forces me to close my eyes, relax my body for at least 10 minutes, let's see if I can get that vision to settle down. I can do some stretches afterwards. I can do that. So I forced myself. So what was that? Name it, which
Name
was,
it.
oh, my body is in pain and I can't see. So I claimed the space to go and actually focus on that. What was the second? What's the third one?
Choose it, change it.
Yeah, so I chose to actually stay after. So I'd finished the meditation, and sometimes I'm a bit naughty with meditation. My anxiety creeps in and I sort of open my eyes sooner than I'm guided to. This one, I'm like, no, I'm staying here. I don't care that you've finished. I ain't finished. My body is just quite happy here. Thanks very much. So I extended it. What was the last one?
Change it. What's
Yeah.
one small thing that you can do that's going to make things a little bit easier for you?
Yeah, I haven't got to that answer yet. I don't know yet. It feels slightly overwhelming to do that final piece, which probably explains why I still feel like I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah, and maybe it feels like the steps or whatever things that you could change might feel too big right now. So
Yeah, because I'm in the energy of that. Oh, change,
right,
more change.
and you even said earlier, I did one thing today that would help me move in that direction, and it was a small. You call it a micro change as well. So it might need to be a micro change.
I need to be smaller again. Yeah.
Smaller again to start.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Look, I know that, like you said at the top of this, everyone struggles with the whole change thing. Like, I don't know anyone who does it really effectively. I just found it fascinating that even though I'd invited this change in, it was deliberate. We made these conscious choices, and I was still struggling.
Like I said, you affected basically a piece of your stability, and maybe hadn't thought through its effect, or just didn't consider how destabilizing it would be.
No, I didn't, because we've done their 2 other rooms and they didn't have that same feel. But this one is more of a living area.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, you may have thought, oh yeah, this makes logical sense. We'll do room A, B, and then we'll do C, and then not knowing that C really is the heart of the home and where I am and where I like to be, and now what?
Yes. Yep. But now we have to keep doing it. Like, so the sooner we can get it painted, and at least one section of the furniture can go back in until the new furniture arrives.
So maybe it's possible that you start reclaiming small chunks.
Yeah.
Like re-establish a space, a few meters at a time. Oh, I have a place for my lounge to sit. Oh, I have blinds on the windows and people don't have to see my stuff. Oh, so just small shifts.
Yes.
And maybe it's just pushing a bunch of stuff into a corner so you feel like you have a couple of feet to walk and to relax and to be there.
Yeah.
Order out a couple more meals so you don't have to worry about the pantry, or something that's going to ease the flow and the feel of the space, chunk by chunk.
Yeah. Good ideas. Yes. So this is going to be interesting to see what it's going to be like in 2 weeks' time, what my world will have evolved into.
You didn't post any of this stuff on social media, just, oh, I'm painting, look at me.
I was waiting for a conversation to share it.
Well, sometimes you got to let it out, right? It's all good.
Awesome. Thanks for those suggestions, Ian. Very cool reminders.
I hope they help. but to anybody out there, trust me, change is not necessarily the easiest thing, but if you can get outside of yourself a little bit, go talk to somebody, have somebody maybe give you a fresh perspective, and maybe you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel, or a different way to see it that helps shift the way that you're looking at it, and you don't spiral too far down and get a whinge in your back or your neck.
I can't finish that better than you just did.